Hey guys, I'm Martin Cliffe and welcome to Martin's Monday pedal playthrough. In this series I take some of the pedals that are in my collection that aren't on my current pedal boards and play them with some more conventional sounding instruments so that you can get a feel for them. And hopefully as I come to sell them, I've then got video demos for them as well. So it's another envelope filter. This time we're looking at the MXR bass envelope filter from their Bass Innovations series. And this is actually a pedal that I have two of because I have one on my board that I use pretty regularly. I don't know why I had a second one. I think I was trying it for guitar for a while before going with the Mad Professor Snow White Auto Wah instead as my Auto Wah of choice. But this is again a pretty versatile pedal. It works quite differently from the 3-leaf audio pedals that I've demonstrated previously. I've got it set roughly the same as the settings I have on my main board. I've had to tweak it a little bit because this bass, this Fender American Special Jazz bass, has much lower output than my active basses that I play most of the time. So I've had to adjust the sensitivity a little bit and also the effects output. We've got 5 knobs. We've got a dry knob that adds in some dry signal to keep your bass tone pure. Effects knob controls the affected output level. Sensitivity, which is your input gain, controls how hard you have to pluck to trigger the filter. The Q then is kind of the width of that filter, and then the decay is how long the filter stays open. So dry tone. Got both pickups on full, tone control all the way up for that kind of slightly funky jazz bass tone. If I take the dry all the way out, just to demonstrate the tone of the pedal. I've got it set to quite a subtle tone. Maybe I need to turn the sensitivity up a little bit for this bass. So the effects knob controls the overall wet signal. You need to be a little bit careful with envelope filters. If you turn them up too loud, you can drive your amp into distortion or potentially even pop your speakers because it's very rapid transient. So keep that effects knob under control, generally looking for unity gain or thereabouts. So the decay then. Stays open indefinitely, or you can get it, you can hear a kind of resonant point. So it doesn't seem to be affecting just the tone, it also seems to be affecting how much of the filter is in operation. Which is a really odd kind of thing. It sounds cool when you get it set right, but it does take a bit of tweaking. And obviously that'll depend on the bass you're playing, the amp you're playing through, the other effects in your chain, and the tone you want to hear. Then the Q control. We're kind of getting that kind of more synthy, kind of aggressive drivey tone the higher up we have it. But as I say, the cool thing about this pedal is with the dry control, however artificial you get it sounding, we can always add in some dry tone to preserve our low end. So if you want a good solid kind of foundation and then just have certain notes stab through, which is clearly how I have it set at the moment, then that's really useful. Obviously it does depend very much on the bass you're using and stuff, so let's switch over to the precision bass with flat wound strings. It's a louder bass naturally, so let's see how this responds with those settings. So the higher output bass, as predicted, means it's much more sensitive to what I'm playing. So I'll take the sensitivity down, maybe somewhere in between. It's definitely a balancing act finding the right setting for your bass. And of course, if you want to make it less sensitive, you can always just turn down the volume on your bass. So having the dry control gives you real flexibility in terms of sculpting your tone and like how much impact you can have with the envelope filter. What's interesting about this particular pedal is that it works differently from, I think, any of my other envelope filters in terms of the response and the way that the decay control and the Q control interact. So you get your sensitivity set right for your bass, which if you play multiple basses may be a little bit tricky. And then you tweak the decay and the Q controls to taste, and then balance the dry and the wet sounds for the level that you want, being careful not to blow your speakers. Sometimes it's a good idea to stick a compressor after an envelope filter in your chain to try and just curb some of those peaks, so you still get that cool quack sound, but it's not putting too much strain on your amplifier, particularly if your amp doesn't have a built-in limiter. Thankfully the Markbass one I'm using does. But with a little bit of playing around, don't just stick to all the knobs at 12 o'clock. I know that's tempting for a lot of us players with pedals, is go for 12 o'clock or 1:30 if you're Mick Taylor. You need to kind of tweak the knobs to find the optimum tone for you. And on these Fender basses, I've ended up with a very different set of settings than I have when I play my active mic lulls. So, very cool, very flexible, but takes a little bit of tweaking to get the tone you want. So something to bear in mind, but definitely worth checking out.